Heart disease is killer number one. Killer number two is cancer. 500,000 Americans are expected to die this year with cancer. That's like 5 jumbo jets crashing every day. The number of Americans who die from cancer each year is more than all those who've died in all the wars combined. And this happens every single year, all U.S. wars combined. What happens when you put cancer on a plant-based diet? Well, Dr. Dean Ornish and colleagues were able to show that the progression of prostate cancer could be reversed with the same plant-based diet and lifestyle program, and no wonder. If you drip the blood of those eating the standard American diet onto cancer cells growing in a petri dish, you can suppress cancer growth a little bit. But you put people on a plant-based diet for a year, though, and their blood can do this. The blood circulating throughout the bodies of those eating plant-based has nearly 8 times the stopping power when it comes to suppressing cancer cell growth. Now, this was for prostate cancer in men. They wanted to repeat this study using women and breast cancer, number one cancer killer specific to women. But look, they didn't want to wait a whole year to get the results. Women are dying now. I said, okay, let's see what happens if we put women on a plant-based diet for just 2 weeks against 3 different types of human breast cancer. This is the before cancer cell growth powering away at 100%, then after eating healthy for just 2 weeks. Here's a kind of before picture. A confluent layer of breast cancer is laid down in a petri dish. And then blood from women eating the standard American diet is dripped on them. As you can see, even people eating pretty poor diets have some ability to kind of break down cancer. But take these same women, put them on a plant-based diet, and test them 2 weeks later. So same women, they act as their own controls. Right, draw their blood again after eating healthy for 2 weeks, and then drip it on another carpet of breast cancer cells, and all you're left with is that. Their bodies cleaned up. Before and after, just 2 weeks eating healthy, right? The blood of those eating plant-based diets is dramatically less hospitable to cancer, right? That's what this shows. The blood of those eating plant-based, dramatically less hospitable to cancer. Now, slowing down the growth of cancer is nice. Getting rid of it's even better. There's what's called apoptosis, or programmed cell death. Your body's able to kind of reprogram cancer cells, forcing them into early retirement. This is what's called tunnel imaging, measuring DNA fragmentation or cell death, where dying cancer cells show up as little white spots. So as you can see, again, as we saw before, this is what the blood of your average woman can do to breast cancer cells. Her bloodstream can kill off a few. Right? But then after 14 days of plant-based living, her blood can do this. It's like you're an entirely different person inside. The same blood now circulating throughout these women's bodies gained the power to significantly slow down and stop breast cancer cell growth after just 2 weeks eating healthy. What kind of blood do we want in our body? What kind of immune system? Do we want blood circulating that just kind of rolls over when new cancer cells pop up? Or do we want blood circulating to every nook and cranny in our body with the power to slow down and stop it? Now, this dramatic strengthening of cancer defenses was after 2 weeks of a plant-based diet and exercise. They had these women out walking 30 to 60 minutes a day. You say, well, wait a second, if you do 2 things, how do you know what role the diet played? So researchers decided to put it to the test. And this is measuring cancer cell clearance. This is what we saw before, the effect of a plant-based diet, in this case for an average of 14 years, along with like mild exercise, like out walking every day. That's the kind of cancer cell clearance you can get. Compare that to the cancer-stopping power of your average sedentary American. See a little cheeseburger there, I don't know if you can quite catch that, which is basically non-existent. All right. But this middle group is the interesting group. Instead of 14 years on plant-based diet, 14 years standard American diet, but 14 years daily, strenuous hour-long exercise like calisthenics. They wanted to know, if you exercise long enough, if you exercise hard enough, can you rival some strolling plant eaters over there? And the answer is exercise help, no question. But literally 5,000 hours in the gym, no match for a plant-based diet. This is that same tunnel imaging we saw before. As you can see, even if you're a couch potato living off of fried potatoes, you're not totally defenseless. You can knock off a few cancer cells. You exercise for 5,000 hours, you can knock off cancer cells left and right, but nothing appears to kick more cancer tush than a plant-based diet. We think it's because animal proteins, meat, egg white, and dairy proteins, increase the level in our bodies of a cancer-promoting growth hormone called IGF-1. So the reason one of the largest prospective studies on diet and cancer ever found the incidence of all cancers combined was lower among those eating more plant-based, maybe because they're eating less animal protein, which means less IGF-1, which means less cancer growth. How much less cancer growth are we talking? Well, middle-aged men and women with high protein intakes had a 75% increase in overall mortality risk and a fourfold increase of dying specifically from cancer. But not all protein, specifically animal protein. So the academic institution where this study was done sent out a press release with a memorable opening line, "That chicken wing you're eating could be as deadly as a cigarette." Explaining that, look, eating a diet rich in animal proteins during middle age makes you 4 times more likely to die from cancer, which is comparable to what one might get smoking cigarettes. So what was the response in the scientific community to this revelation that diets high in meat, eggs, and dairy could be harmful to the health of smoking? Well, one nutrition scientist said it was potentially dangerous to tell people about this study. Why? Because a smoker might think, why bother quitting smoking? My ham and cheese sandwich is just as bad for me. So let's not tell anyone about this whole meat and dairy thing. Shh. It reminds me of this famous cigarette ad that tried to downplay the risk by saying, hey, you think secondhand smoke is bad, increasing your risk of lung cancer 19%. Well, hey, drinking 1 or 2 glasses of milk every day, maybe 3 times as bad, 62% increased risk of lung cancer. Or doubling your risk frequently cooking with oil, or tripling your risk of heart disease by eating non-vegetarian, or multiplying your risk 6-fold if you eat lots of meat and dairy. So, they concluded, let's keep some perspective here. The risk of lung cancer from secondhand smoke may be well below that of other everyday activities, so breathe deep. That's like saying, don't worry about getting stabbed, because getting shot, so much worse. How about neither? 2 risks don't make a right.